Yes, everyone, what's going on? My name's Stephen Howson. I'm not excited. I didn't even get a brew. I've not even got a brew. Never mind.
Oh, yeah. I haven't either.
I didn't get a brew. Joining me today, we've got Angelina, we got Jay, and we got Casey. What's happening, everybody?
What's happening? You all good?
I'm all right, mate, yeah.
Yeah. Right. You look well. You look happy.
I'm feeling all right. Should we get on a fucking rum or what? Ooh.
You can. I'll stick to me me Pepsi Max cherry.
Angelina, how's that Berlin doing?
That Berlin's all right. It's they've sent me home. They had enough of me after 2 weeks.
Imagine.
So I'm back in Manchester for the time being.
Fucking job. Oh my god. New job in a new country and then getting binned off and getting sent home again.
I was literally at the job for 1 week and then they were like, oh, Corona and shit, you may as well go back home. I was like, okay.
Takes your breath away, doesn't it?
You still doing bits for him?
Yeah. And now and then when I feel like it, yeah.
So Angelina, you can go see more of her over on the One Football channel, where she's obviously doing it remotely because she only lasted a week in Germany. What's happening, everyone? Is anything new happened?
No, man. Honestly, I don't want to be boring. I've been doing homeschooling, so my kids are all dead young, and it's just reminding me of how stupid I am and thick I am, and how I don't know anything. And I'm like,
how hard's maths homework for kids?
Yeah, and my oldest is only 9, and I'm like, hang on a minute, let me just double check those sums. Oh yeah, yeah, you're right. I was wrong. Sorry.
Right, Casey, why have we called this Maguire something about MVP?
Oh, hello.
Right, so Sky Sports yesterday released what they would say is the MVP for every team in the league, and Harry Maguire was the one they chose for United as United's MVP for the season in the Premier League. Also on that list was Aubameyang got it for Arsenal. More importantly to us, Dean Henderson got it for Sheffield United. So yeah, basically, what does everyone think of that?
What was the criteria though? MVP? Like, I don't understand.
It's like they crunched the stats and it was who performed the best, which I think is a very broad way of describing why they picked a Harry Maguire.
Yeah,
because I think that people have played better than Harry Maguire. I think Harry Maguire's played well for us, but I'd put some other people above him in the list, definitely.
Andrew, do you reckon MVP?
I don't know. It's one of those because he has been consistent. Has he necessarily been fit his price tag? Maybe not. I guess it's what you class as an MVP. Like, I would look at it more as, obviously you can't with him because he's like only just signed for us, but you know, people that you've seen like progress and grow, or you know, stuff like that. I'd more consider. So I don't know. I don't think I'd name him.
I don't think he's been bad. And I thought early in the season when he was getting a little bit of shit, I don't think he was bad. I just thought he was ordinary. And ordinary is not bad. It's like, it's average, isn't it? It's like, yeah, okay, he's not really causing many mistakes, but he's also not putting any worldy performances. I think his season kind of went like that a little bit towards when he got given the armband. I thought his performances he's really like leveled up to match that. But prior to that, I thought he was just a bit, like I said, unimpressive, just average, ordinary. You know what I mean?
I think he suffered a little bit as well from this sort of daft idea that because he cost more than Van Dijk, he was going to be as good as Van Dijk or have the impact that Van Dijk had.
The impact's the big one. The impact.
Like,
Van Dijk had an enormous impact.
Yeah, and he took a very good team and took him to a new level, unfortunately. And I think people thought, well, Harry Maguire's cost 85 million. He's going to come into United and do the same for us. And that's
but has he not? Like a combination of Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire, we are now, what, first or second best defence in Europe?
Yeah, I mean, me and you've spoke about this numerous times today. I think Maguire did okay. I think part of the problem we had defensively wasn't actually him. I think Lindelof went completely off the boil for me, which doesn't help you if your defensive partner is struggling. And for me, Lindelof I had him as player of the year the season before. No, not everyone agreed. But this season, I don't think he's reached those levels at all. And I don't think that helps as well. And I think that coupled with the expectation, people expected him to be sort of, you know, I even saw people criticising his lack of goals. He's centre-back and people going, he's not even scored other than, you know, the Tranmere game. I was like, that's not what he's there for. So, yeah, I think there was a sort of combination of factors. But I think if anyone could go back in the summer and you said to me, well, and not to anyone, but if you said to me, would you sign Harry Maguire? Do you think that was a good signing? I'd say, yeah, 100%. I don't think we made a mistake signing him at all.
No, I'd say with that. Where does Wan-Bissaka come into this then in terms of the seasonal MVP? Why has he not been considered?
I don't know, because obviously I feel like MVP is a bit of a broad statement in terms of what you actually take that as meaning. Like Harry Maguire's come in for 80 million, and I feel like he's done his job. He's not set the world alight. He's not. People are obviously complaining about him scoring goals. If he'd scored like 4 or 5 goals, then obviously you could be like, well, he's made a great impact, and then that would be in the MVP discussion and all that sort of thing. But it's a sort of who's gone above and beyond for this.
Sorry. Can everyone just look at that username a second?
What is it? I can't see. I'm going to. Sorry, I'm on the wrong thing.
Stretford Paddock Fan TV.
Is this you, guys? Is it anything to do?
No,
with
I've got followed by them. They followed me on Instagram.
I've been chatting to him because I thought it was one of your lot.
No, I'm not sure who it is.
I've been replying like I'm talking to you or to Alex or some or King. I thought it was like part of the firm.
I don't know.
No,
who
they
it
started
is,
following me. I was going to ask.
We got a fan channel with a fan channel.
Right. They started following me last night and then started tweeting me. So I thought I might be talking to one of you lot. So I was replying, even though it was like 1 a.m. I was still up. I didn't want to be rude. So fair play to them.
So yeah.
We're not clever enough to do that better.
Mate, I'm far too busy to bother replying and sitting here like this, doing this.
Replying. You're the king of replying to people when you disagree with them.
Actually, do you know what, Jay? I came to this conclusion yesterday. I think you argue with more people than I do on Twitter.
No.
Fact.
Absolutely
Fact.
No chance do I argue
Fact.
with as many people as you do. That's just nonsense, mate.
Fact.
No one argues with as many people as you do on Twitter for starters at all. No one. So that's a given.
And I don't argue as much as you do. You're way worse than me.
No, I'm not, mate. I'm not. And
We're both arguing about arguing, though.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. No, I'm not.
I argue with you more about who's arguing more on Twitter than anyone else does.
So go on, Wan-Bissaka. Sorry, Casey, that just well threw me that comment then.
I know, yeah, it's fine. Fair point. Because they started following me on Instagram, and I had no clue who it was. I was going to bring it up let's bring it up this morning. But it's a sort of who goes above and beyond and does more than what you expect of them. Like, I mean, a lot of people will probably say, obviously, Rashford's in the MVP debate, and Fred. I say Fred's probably if we're going in by MVP and sort of like American categories, I'd say Fred's the most improved player. But I think Wan-Bissaka's definitely up there in terms of that debate because obviously, like, no one gets past him. You see people switch wings and switch their style of play just to avoid playing him.
Raheem Sterling wakes up at 4 o'clock every morning like, Jesus fucking Christ. Thought he was in my bed.
In a cold sweat.
Every morning. Yeah, I think MVP's a weird one. Obviously, it means your player of the year. Who's been your best player? I think Marcus, Tony, outside of that, I think you're looking at a lot of people who never really hit the heights that either of those two hit.
I don't know. I mean,
it's always a weird.
I had when we were debating it the other week, I had our Wan-Bissaka as my player of the year. So you know, it's difficult to argue past that. I agree with what everyone's been saying. Fred's had a great season. Marcus had a great season. I think the only sort of detriment to Marcus is probably injury. I know it didn't end up costing him a lot because the season ended a few games after he got his injury. But I think if it weren't for that, he'd have walked it. Martial had a little bit of a dip, so that probably cost him. But I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka on the whole, I think even when Aaron Wan-Bissaka, people said, oh, he's had a dip. I don't think he did. I think he was giving us sort of like 7 out of 10s rather than 8s. And people were going, oh, he's gone off the ball. He's terrible. If you looked at our defence, he was never the problem, ever, this season. Yeah. It was never him. It was either you had the left-hand side where Shaw got drops or moved into a back 3 because it wasn't always going right for him. You had Maguire question marks we've already addressed. Lindelof I've already spoke about. You know, some people saying Tuanzebe should have come in for Lindelof. Yeah, Wan-Bissaka, if he was fit and he played, he was spot on. He was just consistent. And you know, as Steve said, in some games, he went above and beyond. I mean, Sterling, I know his goal-scoring records against us shocking, but he always causes problems. Always. And he don't get a look in anymore. He doesn't, you know, and it's like Aaron Wan-Bissaka toys with him, lets him have the ball and says, come on then, come and have a go, son.
gives him 6 yard head start. And
Yeah,
he's like,
tackles him, lets him have it back, and then tackles him again. It's all out of order. It's like, Aaron, come on, pack it in, mate. Stop it now.
And who was you going for?
I would have gone for Wan-Bissaka as well. Like, I've commented on him before. I think he's just been great. I think a lot of people could have also played, like the age card of like, oh, he's young or whatever. And it's like, I think he's just took the role and literally just ran with it. Like, there's been no issues, no like major complaints. I think obviously going forward, people were critical and, maybe rightly so. And I think me personally, I feel like we've seen improvement in that part of his game as well. And again, like you say with Sterling, I think that for me just kind of tops it all. When you're going into, big games like that and you're thinking, oh crap, what's going to happen? You're looking at certain parts of the field thinking, could we maybe be exposed here? And with Sterling, you automatically do think, like what Jay said, he doesn't necessarily score all the goals, but he always gives us problems. And I think the first game, you were thinking this is going to be a bit of a test for him. And there was no complaints. I forgot Sterling was even on the pitch. So,
how good is it to go into some big games like the Manchester derby, like Liverpool aside, really, because they've just been on a different level to everybody this year. But against every other top side that we face this year, you go into that and you kind of know Marcus is going to put in a performance. Wan-Bissaka is going to put in a performance. Maguire is going to put in relatively a performance. And there's probably a couple of others that you can rely on to do. Scott McTominay in the big games has been excellent. Fred latterly has been excellent.
Yeah,
I was going to say McTominay was probably up there for my player of the season, my MVP, because obviously, going into this season, he'd done well. He'd shown that he had that sort of given the drive to play in the games, but now we've given it to a Gaal for the goal against. That's great. Obviously, I'm not going to say Gaal's a player of the season, but he's done well in the games he's played. So, if anyone wants to try and argue that
was a problem we had
McTominay,
with some of the bigger games. Sorry, Casey, I didn't mean to interrupt you. About you sort of going on about people turning up in the big games. We had a bit of an issue there, didn't we? Famously, with Lukaku never turned up in the big games. Some criticised Pogba was a bit hit and miss in some of the big games, and now you've got this situation where going into the big games, people are turning up. You look at Martial's goal scoring record against the big teams. Look at Rashford's goal scoring record against the big teams. Phenomenal. And and we've already mentioned the likes of Wan-Bissaka, McTominay, Fred. All of a sudden, who I was sort of on the fence with, undoubted whether he's good enough. He shows up, and if they can turn up in these big games, then they can do it against the lesser teams. They've got it in them.
Absolutely.
And even you mentioned the Scousers there, Steve, but even there's Marcus was bullying the Scouse defenders. You've got Liverpool fans clipping up a bit where Adam Wan-Bissaka were slid on his ass, missing out the bit where he gets up and blocks a shot because that's all they've got to work with. So even against Liverpool, a lot of players turned up. We could have
so-called greatest defender that's ever fucking played in the Premier League was getting walked around on his hands and knees by Marcus on a lead.
Exactly. You know what I mean? All those memes you have a Vidic and you're just throwing that back at the face. So yeah, that gives me a lot of confidence as well moving forward because that if you can turn up against these teams, the likes of City, likes of Liverpool to a lesser extent, then there's every sort of chance that with a few additions you can start challenging again.
Yeah, I think so. What do you reckon then has been the reason behind why Maguire has been the one chosen ahead of all these obvious good performances that we've just discussed? What is it? I'll go to you, Ange. What do you think is the reason that we've seen Maguire awarded that by Sky?
Well, I'm assuming if it's down to stats, I think I'm trying to think. Wan-Bissaka's probably played a similar amount of games. I was trying to think, is it down to that he's just played more games? The only thing I can think of is that it's down to stats. I can't. He has been, like you say, he's not been amazing. Like everyone's been stood back, oh my God, what an amazing performance every single week. But he's not really done anything that you turn around about. He was shit. He should not be starting next weekend. I think maybe just because he has been so consistently decent.
Sorry, ZOT, look at this.
Because he didn't. Who knows? I don't know. But
Jay,
I just think that's consistent. No, I was just going to say consistently decent.
Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's a consistency thing. There's the expectation with the price tag, and maybe now, especially the last couple of months, we're really seeing that. We've seen that. You mentioned there about the clean sheets we've been getting. Defensively, we're looking a lot more solid. We're on a good run as well. Also, the leadership aspect. Harry Maguire was sort of thrown into that leadership role. He wasn't, to me, a natural captain. I didn't automatically think, oh yeah, Harry Maguire, that's your United captain sorted for the next 5 years. He's been given the armband and he's risen to it on and off the pitch as well. People go, it doesn't matter what he does off the pitch. Well, it does. People are quick to criticise players when they do bad things off the pitch. So why not give them credit when they do good things, especially if you're representing Manchester United as the Manchester United captain? So I think when you look at that whole package, the price tag, the way that our season was beginning to take shape and look good, defensively we were solid, his role in that and his leadership as well, I can understand why he gets it. This isn't an outrageous decision. This isn't one of those where you go, they've given it Maguire. What are you talking about? Oh, it's just probably not one we all agree with, but you can understand it. Well, I can anyway.
Yeah, I think he's been good without being the greatest in there, I would say. Casey, what do you think?
Well, yeah, I was saying, like, with the stats, you've obviously saw we taking a lot of clean sheets. He's probably got a good pass percentage because he's got on the ball. It's like that sort of thing. Like Wan-Bissaka probably uncompleted crosses probably plays into Wan-Bissaka's statistics going down and in his pass percentage, which we've seen improve. But as a stat that they've probably gone by, that's not one they're going to consider as a positive in this regard. But yeah, and also you're adding all those other things like the leadership he's brought to the team, the fact that United have gone from conceding a lot more goals to a lot less now he's in the team. But yeah, that's probably the best way to describe it. It's not the one you'd think of in the top of your head, but again, it's the sort of thing with football you see in a lot of cases. Like defenders never really get the plaudits or the highlights. Like you've only ever seen one defender win the Ballon d'Or ever, and it's always an attacker because everyone's like, well, the goals win the game, so.
Well, not ever.
They're the ones.
It's not ever.
Pardon?
It's not ever. Defenders have won it just in your lifetime.
No, kind of one. There's only.
I was going to say.
There's only one defender.
Well,
I'm pretty sure didn't Lothar Matthäus win it?
Isn't he East midfielder though?
No,
I mean, Beckenbauer. Did Beckenbauer win it? I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, one defender's won it in my lifetime. Then, if we're being debatable with the fact of it, but yeah, so they don't really get the plaudits. It's always there seems to be the attackers that get the goals, and I feel like maybe they've seen that Maguire got named a lot of people's team of the seasons. I'd say I saw like a lot of people who were throwing around team of the season. Van Dijk and Maguire seem to be the two that they went with at the back. So I feel like that might have played into the decision as well.
Yeah. I think someone mentioned in the comments that it went actually before I got a chance to stick it on, but because of the World Cup, maybe Harry Maguire's quite a popular player just amongst Sky Sports viewers, and ignoring the fact that he's a United player, which means that they probably all hate him now. But maybe that does have something to do with it a little bit. Anything else happening in the world of United? Give us some questions, everybody. I think I agree generally. Like Maguire's been good. I don't really understand the process at which they've arrived at that decision, but I can't.
I've got a list
apart
of
from.
If you want.
Oh yeah, let's throw them in. Let's have a look at them then.
So this is off. This is off someone who's quoting it. Maguire has the most touches, passes, clearances, and interceptions of any United player this season. That's probably some of the stats they've used to base it on. Tackles is obviously Wan-Bissaka, but that's the sort of thing I think they might be basing it on.
Charlie says, other than Van Dijk, who's had a better season in the Prem. I haven't watched enough of him to comment, but Soyuncu was getting a lot of plaudits for the fact that they replaced Maguire quite effectively with him.
Yeah, he did. If it weren't for injury as well, you'd be saying Laporte, wouldn't you? But his injury derailed City, didn't it, really? I mean, he was flying, they were flying when he was fit. And then as soon as he got injured, the wheels came off. But overall, there's not like a lot that springs to mind. And I think the thing with Van Dijk, you can argue that Gomez has played well alongside him, but I think he's got that about him, Van Dijk, that he is that good that whether it's Gomez or it's Matip, everyone battle over him probably, who still manages to have a bit of a stinker. If you put anyone alongside him, they're going to do okay. So yeah, I think that's a good point. I think Maguire is up there with one of the best centre-backs in the league.
Mandeep saying Rio's response to Souness on Pogba. I haven't seen that. Does anyone want to fill me in? What's his response?
I don't. Do you know what? I mean, I need to see this myself. Sorry, I've not seen anything about it. I found the whole thing a bit sort of a storm in a teacup because I think, I'm just reading it now. Rio Ferdinand hits out at Graham Souness over
Go on, lads.
Paul
Get
Pogba and defends the United star.
Fuck him up, Rio.
He said he hasn't even played football this year. I don't know how his name is in people's mouths. He hasn't even played football. I don't understand it. Why are you chatting about Paul Pogba? Yeah. But the thing is, though, if you look at Pogba's quote, it was like, I didn't know who he was. I found out who he was, and then now I know who he is. And, I respect him.
And I heard he was a great player.
Yeah, it was completely...
Which is fucking far too much credit that he deserves.
Yeah, I mean, like, why would anyone have known a Scouser from the 80s when they come to England?
Yeah.
Since United, automatically. Oh, and someone's saying, was it Robbie Fowler who said he sent him a DVD of the 1984 European Cup final? Why? I didn't even know he was in that final until he tweeted that or he mentioned
why?
that. It's like, why would that be on the first thing in your mind? So it just seems like we all know it. We all know the game. Put Paul Pogba in the headline. There's no games going on. Let's get a bit of conflict going. Let's get the Scousers and United fans going at each other. We'll get some hits. Maybe people won't cancel the subscription. Too late for me. I've already done it. We'll keep it going. It's nonsense. And listen, we can criticize Paul Pogba for lots of things, but not knowing who Graham Souness is ain't fucking one of them.
Not at all. I said like Gordon Cowans.
Yeah,
I was a midfielder that won a European Cup in the 80s.
Exactly. Now, how many people probably didn't even know who he played for? Do you know what I mean? You naming the Nottingham Forest side that won the European Cup back to back.
If I got 3 out of that team, I'd be impressed with myself.
Yeah, I would as well. That's what I mean. So it's like this idea that you should automatically know 80s players when you go to
and also, why would a lad who plays for United, why is he going to know about like old Scouse players? Do you know what I mean? Like,
if it was Robbo or George Best, isn't it?
Yeah, 100% though. It's like, of course he's going to have maybe a bit of back knowledge on United players, but definitely not him. I just think it's ridiculous. I
mean? Louis Van Gaal came to United. He didn't even know Chris Smalling's fucking name. So don't give me this about how Paul Pogba's met to know Graham Souness.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
Oh, can we not just bring back Louis to be in a press conference?
So, yeah, the press conferences, the football.
Do you see Yanna's eyes hit out at him today, apparently, about Louis Van Gaal, how his treatment of him?
I know a little bit about what happened with Januzaj. So go on, what's Januzaj said?
Well, probably not as much as Ange.
I think he just said it was a bit disrespectful. It was dealt with. Let me just have a look.
I'm just going to put it on.
Just get the exact quote, so I don't.
Sorry, Anne.
Why is this like new news to everyone?
I didn't know this. Like, you know what I mean?
Jay loves spilling the tea, don't you?
Yeah.
Go on, what do you want to ask me?
Was it Nando's or Burger King? Where was it?
Thank you.
Wait, did you go on a date with Januzaj?
I went on a few dates with him, yeah.
His form sailed off when Ange dumped him.
Basically, yeah.
On a bike. Right, all right. So go on. What's Januzaj said about Louis then? And I'll tell you what I know about it, and we'll ask Ange what she knows about it.
No, I was more the Alex Ferguson, David Moyes kind of era, shall we say.
Okay.
But, he was very, very confident in himself on the football pitch, was not worried about Sir Alex Ferguson leaving and maybe that might affect him playing in the team. He'd pretty much been promised it. Basically thought he was the shit. That's all.
To be fair, under Moyes, he was.
Yeah.
That performance against Sunderland was one of the best number 10 performances I've seen in a long fucking time. He was amazing.
He actually described himself, I don't know now, but described himself as the perfect person. I swear to God. No, he was like I'm perfect, you know that. I was like, what? I'm perfect. So I was like, really? I was like, okay. That
is a level of confidence I'm able to achieve.
So this is lining up with the word that I got, that he's not the sharpest tool in the shed.
Yeah.
Exact quote. This is it. There was not the same freedom. A winger needs that confidence. A manager telling you, go and take on with him, which is past him. I was frustrated, and everyone could see that I was not the same Adnan as the first year. I was sometimes even in the stands.
Yeah. Okay.
That's basically it. So basically, it's just criticising the fact that Louis van Gaal tried to put a system in play.
Right. Here's what the word I got was under Moyes. Moyes would go, right, Adnan, you go and have fun. Right, lads, here's the tactics. And then Louis was like, right, here's what I want you to do. And he was like, what are tactics? And he was like, don't fucking worry about it. Fuck off. That's pretty succinct, almost word for word thing about what happened, I reckon.
I mean, other than giving debuts to players like Marcus and Sinfosu Mensah, I think if you look at what Louis did with players, Louis van Gaal, you know, Di Maria off the striker, Rooney is a holding midfielder. A lot of it didn't make sense. And the football was absolutely atrocious to watch. It really was.
Wouldn't you have been interested to see what a third year brought about, though?
I get where you're coming from, because automatically you think, no, I couldn't have took any more of that football. But there were certain good things. You know, we won the FA Cup. As I mentioned, the young players coming through. He had a lot of faith in certain players, like Lingard, for example, and was getting a tune out of him. So you could argue that. But, mate, I didn't see a goal down my end of the ground for 3 months. Do you know what I mean?
Was UK stand?
Yeah, Jay. And, you know, I can't forget that. We were doing the United Week stand, we were doing the United Week stand quiz in the middle of the fucking game at one point, and everyone was joining in. It was that boring. It was horrible, honestly. And I don't know if I could have survived another 9 months of it. I'm sorry.
I think that there would have been an evolution. I don't think he would have signed Zlatan or Pogba. I think because I think that there was other reasons in why they came about. But I would have been very interested to see what he wanted to do and who he wanted to bring in. But the writing was on the wall from about January, February, wasn't it, that he was gone?
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're right. I think was it around did we lose at Stoke, and was it, I can't remember, was it Bournemouth, Stoke, back-to-back losses, and there was another one in there as well.
Norwich
at home, yeah. When
Southampton.
So there was a few on there, and everyone knew, and he knew, I think, as well. But I think the way, regardless of what you think of Louis van Gaal, regardless of the football and whatever, the way we handled it was terrible. To sack him or to announce it the day after, leak it the day after the FA Cup final win, was just, you got to be better than that.
How did that come out, though? Because
it
felt like that the press did that on purpose rather than United put that out on purpose. It almost felt like the press had got wind and smashed it. But that many people had it at the same time, I don't know.
No, I'm with you. I don't really know what the ins and outs of it all. I just think that, you know, for whatever reason, it should have been handled better than it was. And also, you know, the Jose announcement almost the day after or whenever it was all like, you know, we didn't even get a chance to savour that FA Cup win, really. It was like, Van Gaal's gone, Jose's in. And I felt a bit sorry for Lingard because he scored the winner in the FA Cup final and no one really noticed.
It felt, yeah, it definitely felt too quick when you think about it. Because obviously, like,
really?
You think,
he wasn't even on the coach. Imagine sacking someone.
His hand, he literally went like this off the FA Cup and Mourinho was behind him like, there we go. Out of it, we're in. No, it was
just go and speak to Tracy over there. She'll sort your P46. My what? Who are you talking about?
One-way ticket to Wembley for Mr. Van Gaal. He won't need a return. Don't worry about that. Just give him a single. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good shout. I'm not going to try and pronounce that name, but I feel Van Gaal, soon after Alex left, could have been different and better story. Louis with Rio, with Vidic, with Rooney a year younger, with Kagawa. Maybe that's the sort of
with Merlenstein, and maybe he kept some of the same backroom staff.
Yeah,
so we don't have Jimmy and Steve Brown coming in.
Fucking Luke Carpenter. I'm torn on. I'm torn on that coaching staff thing though, because half of me goes, yeah, clearly like Strudwick and Mullenstein and all of them lads. Was Mike Phelan part of that?
What, under Fergie?
Yeah, he was. Of course he was.
Yeah,
of course he was.
Yeah,
if he'd have kept that together and brought in, who did he bring in? Franz Hoek, the goalkeeping coach, and there's a couple of other guys that never really got any publicity, which is a good thing generally. But if he'd have, I don't know what Mullenstein's relationship is with Louis. I've never seen them talk about each other, but it would have been interesting to see how they.
It would have been interesting as well from point of view with Van Persie still having something left in the tank. Do you know, like
a year earlier?
Yeah, even like you said, and plus, I think the big problem that we had, I mean, we can go down the rabbit hole here, but a big problem we had with when Moyes came in was just the lack of respect a lot of people had for him. You wouldn't have that with Van Gaal. The likes of Rio, Rooney, everyone would be like, this guy's won the lot. He knows what he's talking about. So when he tells me to do something, I've got no reason to doubt him.
And I believe Louis did do the individual training programs. Like, he reverted a load of people back to their individual training programs. Because I don't know how many people are aware of this. Rio would never play 2 games a week under Fergie. He would play the weekend. Chris Smalling, generally, or Evans, would play the midweek game. That's how it worked to keep Rio going throughout the season. Rio was on his own training schedule. Evra was on his own training schedule. Van Persie was on his own training schedule. And they'd come together, do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and then bosh. They'd play at the weekend. David Moyes wanted it like a military boot camp. No, we do squadded runs. We do it together. You train with everyone. You do the same thing. Whereas, obviously, Fergie had all these lads on extending programs that was extending their careers, and David didn't fancy that. And I wonder if Louis would have continued that. And would he have won a league? Maybe not. Would he have come 7th, though? Definitely not.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think the season that Leicester won the league would have been up for grabs if we'd have had our act together. I do. And I know people go, we're miles away from where Leicester finished. That season, it was anyone's who really had a tune out. It was getting a tune out of players and who knew what they were doing. And with the right signings and the right manager, that could have been us. But we didn't have either at the time. So, it wasn't to be. Oh, I know before Louis Van Gaal could come in, but he'd come into a team that had almost been wrecked. So, and then there was that massive sort of influx of players that came in, wasn't there, where it was like we went from one extreme to the other. I think we've had that nice transition that maybe that season we could have at least challenged.
Yeah, I think Louis instead of David Moyes would have been really good.
Yeah, I think anyone instead of David Moyes, to be honest with you.
Has there ever been a worst appointment for a manager?
Did Moyes?
Not at United, just like in the Prem. Can you think of a worst appointment?
I mean,
Howson at the Scousers, maybe.
Didn't he get him to a final?
Pedigree?
No, I don't think he didn't. Wasn't there long enough.
Did he not win a league cup there?
No, God, no. No, he got sacked by Christmas, wasn't it? Hudson?
Who won it then? King Kenny?
Yeah, Dalglish came in. I know. I don't know. I mean, there might be other ones that are worse. That just springs to mind. I just remember loving him at Liverpool.
Because you have De Boer at Crystal Palace.
That was bad.
Which was...
That was 7 games.
That went pretty bad,
That was trying to play some football that Crystal Palace had never seen before and we're never going to see in those 7 games. And then out the door he went.
Jose at Spurs. Brian Clough Leeds, before my time. Yeah. Funny though. Funny as fuck though. Right, we'll wrap it up there. Cheers to everyone for tuning in. Cheers to Ange. Go and check out what she's up to over on One Football. Cheers to Jay. Go and check out what he's up to on Full Time Devils, whenever that is. And cheers to Casey, who is struggling with uni at the moment. So don't fail, Casey.
Yeah, get it together.
Right. Cheers for tuning in, everyone. We will see you guys in the next one. Laters.